Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the Midday News. The headlines. India and Japan signed 6 agreements following 14th India-Japan Annual Summit in New Delhi between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. Senior BJP leaders holding meetings in Uttarakhand and Manipur regarding government formations. Low pressure area over Bay of Bengal and South Andaman Sea likely to intensify into a depression today and later transform into a storm cyclone. Finland ranks at top in World Happiness Report for the 5th consecutive year. Afghanistan holds last position. World Sparrow Day being observed today to raise awareness about the bird on the verge of extinction. In billiards, ace Indian Cuist Pankaj Ardwani wins Asian Billiards Championship for the 8th time. And in All England Open Badminton Championship, Lakshya Sen to take on top seed Victor Axelsen of Denmark for men's singles title. As we start the bulletin, we appeal to our listeners to stay safe from COVID-19 by following these 4 simple steps. Get fully vaccinated, wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida held the 14th India-Japan Annual Summit in New Delhi yesterday. The two countries signed 6 agreements following delegation-level talks between the two leaders. These agreements covered the domains of cybersecurity, clean energy, infrastructure development, and urban development. Addressing a joint press conference with his Japanese counterpart, Prime Minister Modi said Japan will invest 3.2 lakh crore rupees in India over the next 5 years.
मुंबई-अहमदाबाद हाई स्पीड रेल प्रोजेक्ट में अच्छी प्रगति हो रही है। दोनों देश इस पर वन टीम वन प्रोजेक्ट की अप्रोच के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। यह प्रोजेक्ट भारत जापान पार्टनरशिप का एक बेहतरीन उदाहरण है। मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि हमने 2014 में निर्धारित 3.5 ट्रिलियन जापानीज येन का इन्वेस्टमेंट टारगेट पार कर लिया। अब और आने वाले 5 वर्षों में 5 ट्रिलियन येन, 5 ट्रिलियन येन मतलब करीब 3,20,000 करोड़ रुपए का नया टारगेट तय किया है।
Mr. Modi said the world is still grappling with COVID-19 and its side effects. He said there are still hurdles in the process of global economic recovery. The Prime Minister said geopolitical events are also presenting new challenges. He said it is imperative to achieve the goal of sustainable economic growth and tackle the problem of climate change, and the India-Japan Clean Energy Partnership will prove to be a decisive step in this direction.
भारत और जापान दोनों ही सिक्योर, ट्रस्टेड, प्रिडिक्टेबल और स्टेबल एनर्जी सप्लाई के महत्व को समझते हैं। ये सस्टेनेबल इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ के लिए, उस लक्ष्य को पाने और क्लाइमेट चेंज की समस्या से निपटने के लिए बहुत ही अनिवार्य है। हमारी क्लीन एनर्जी पार्टनरशिप इस दिशा में लिया गया एक निर्णायक कदम साबित होगा। कई अन्य महत्वपूर्ण बिंदुओं पर भी हमारे बीच सहमति बनी है, घोषणाएं हुई हैं। प्रधानमंत्री किशिदा की यह यात्रा भारत जापान स्पेशल स्ट्रेटेजिक एंड ग्लोबल पार्टनरशिप में नए आयाम जोड़ने में सफल रही है।
India and Japan have expressed serious concern about the war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. In a joint statement, the two countries sought an immediate end to violence and a return to the path of dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the conflict. The statement said the two leaders will take appropriate steps to address the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. Later, addressing the media, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla said the Prime Ministers of the two major powers in the Indo-Pacific region held detailed discussions on regional and global issues.
Prime Ministers had discussed areas, range of including economic cooperation, cooperation for the development of the northeastern region of India, digital cooperation, skills development, which is in particular area of focus. As two major powers in the Indo-Pacific region, the Prime Ministers also had detailed discussions on regional and global issues. Both leaders concurred that our defense and security ties have strengthened over the last few years, and we are increasingly comfortable in engaging with each other, with other like-minded partners in various regional and multilateral fora for achieving our shared objectives.
Mr. Shingla said both the Prime Ministers discussed China. India informed Japan about the situation in Ladakh, the attempts of amassing the troops, and talks with China on border-related issues. He said the Japanese Prime Minister also briefed India on his own perspective vis-à-vis East and South China Sea.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a meeting with Uttarakhand's acting Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami and BJP President JP Nadda at his residence in New Delhi today to discuss government formation in the state. Party leaders including Madan Kaushik, Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Satpal Maharaj were also present in the meeting. Uttarakhand Legislative Party meeting is scheduled to be held tomorrow in Dehradun. BJP has got 47 seats in the recently held 70-seat Uttarakhand Legislative Assembly. Congress has won 19 seats, while BSP and Independents have won 2 seats each. In Manipur, central BJP leadership is likely to announce the name of the new chief minister of the BJP-led government by this evening. The party's observer and co-observer to Manipur, Nirmala Sitharaman and Kiran Rijiju, along with BJP in-charge Manipur B.L. Santosh, arrived Imphal this morning. The contenders of Chief Minister's post in Manipur, caretaker CM N. Biren Singh and MLA T. Biswajit also arrived in Imphal along with the party leaders. The two CM contenders were called up yesterday by party leaders in New Delhi for finalization of government formation in Manipur. BJP got absolute majority in the recently concluded state assembly polls, and the election was fought without any state leader being projected as chief ministerial candidate. The senior BJP leader and MLA T. Biswajit has joined the race for Chief Minister's post, leading to tussle between him and N. Biren Singh. Meanwhile, the party sources said that a meeting will be held at party state head office this afternoon, in which all three leaders who arrived today from Delhi will interact with BJP MLAs and state party leaders. After the meeting, the central leaders are likely to attend a press conference to announce the name of the next Chief Minister.
National Commission for Women has written to DGP Rajasthan to register an FIR against unknown persons accused of an alleged gang rape of a 26-year-old woman at gunpoint in Dholpur district. The Commission informed in a tweet that taking suo motu cognizance of the incident, NCW chairperson Rekha Sharma has written to the DGP. The Commission has sought a time-bound investigation in the matter, in the security to the victim, and an action taken report within 7 days. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 5 persons, including 4 members of a family, were killed and another injured after their vehicle went out of control and fell into a gorge in Jumada area of Samba district in Jammu division in the morning today. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the vehicle was carrying 6 passengers from Anantnag district of the Kashmir Valley when it met with an accident. The deceased hailed from Brahranupora village of Anantnag district, and they were heading to Kashmir from Jammu when the mishap took place.
Highlighting the increase in sugarcane production in the country, Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari today underscored the need for reducing consumption of sugar and instead using it to produce ethanol. Mr. Gadkari said this while addressing the Sugar and Ethanol India Conference SEIC 2022 in Mumbai. The conclave is being organized by Chini Mandi, news and information portal for the sugar and allied industries. The meeting seeks to bring together leading domestic and global industry experts to discuss the top challenges and risk response strategies in domestic and global sugar trade and the way forward to building a more innovative and sustainable sugar and ethanol sector in India. Mr. Gadkari said, although now the sugarcane production is on a rise, but cautioned that the same situation will not prevail in the years to come, and as a reason, conversion of sugar to ethanol should be done at a fast pace. The minister said total petroleum imports in India at present is 8 lakh crore rupees, which is expected to become 25 lakh crore rupees in the next 5 years.
Over 181 crore 21 lakh doses of COVID vaccines have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said more than 15,34,000 COVID vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The country reported over 1,700 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Currently, India's active caseload stands at over 26,000. Over 3,000 COVID patients have recovered during the last 24 hours, and the national recovery rate stands at 98.74%. More than 4 crore 24 lakh patients have recovered from COVID-19 in the country so far. The ministry said more than 78 crore 26 lakh COVID-19 tests have been conducted so far.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India and Japan signed 6 agreements following 14th India-Japan Annual Summit in New Delhi between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. Senior BJP leaders holding meetings in Uttarakhand and Manipur regarding government formations. Low pressure area over Bay of Bengal and South Andaman Sea likely to intensify into a depression today and later transform into a storm cyclone. Finland ranks at top in World Happiness Report for the 5th consecutive year. Afghanistan holds last position. World Sparrow Day being observed today to raise awareness about the bird on the verge of extinction. In billiards, ace Indian Cuist Pankaj Ardwani wins Asian Billiards Championship for the 8th time. And in All England Open Badminton Championship, Lakshya Sen to take on top-seeded Victor Axelsson of Denmark for men's singles titles. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. The low-pressure area formed over southeast Bay of Bengal and adjoining South Andaman Sea is moving northwards along and off Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is likely to intensify into a deep depression in next 24 hours and transform into a storm cyclone. Thereafter, it is likely to reach northeast of Bangladesh and North Myanmar coast around 22nd of March. It lay centred over the same region around 170 kilometres south of Port Blair. The trajectory of cyclone Asani shifted eastward during past few hours. As an effect, moderate rainfall was recorded in Port Blair since morning. Strong winds and heavy rainfall are predicted for the next 1 or 2 days. Wind speed is likely to go up to 75 km per hour. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into sea till Tuesday. Taking precautionary measures, all tourism activities in Andaman and Nicobar Islands have also been suspended till Tuesday. All schools will remain closed tomorrow. 4 shore sector shipping services have also been cancelled. Ships scheduled to sail for Chennai today were also cancelled. In view of forming a cyclone, the Disaster Management Department has set up a 24/7 control room and is closely monitoring the situation. Quick response teams have been formed. Today is International Day of Happiness. Finland has been adjudged as the happiest country for the 5th consecutive year, while Afghanistan held the last position of 146 in the World Happiness Report 2022. India is just 10 points ahead of Afghanistan with 136th position. The top 5 countries in the list are parts of Europe, while the United States held the 16th spot in the happiest countries list. Following Finland, Denmark bagged the 2nd rank, while Iceland and Switzerland stood at 3rd and 4th rank. The Netherlands was at the 5th rank in the list. Luxembourg, Norway, Israel and New Zealand were the remaining countries in the top 10. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the World Happiness Report.
Today is World Sparrow Day. Every year, March 20 is observed as World Sparrow Day to raise awareness about the bird. The need for marking this day was felt due to the tremendous decrease in its population. The house sparrow is on the verge of extinction. More from our correspondent.
House sparrows once abounded virtually every continent of the world. so much that they came to be popularly known as the common house sparrow. One can just be happy watching these chirpy brown winged creatures, but now the bird's population is rapidly declining everywhere, and India is no exception. It is an initiative started by the Nature Forever Society of India along with the Ecosys Action Foundation of France. The theme for World Sparrows Day this year is I Love Sparrows. The theme is inspired by the hope that more and more people will come forward to celebrate the bond that humans have had with sparrows in the past. The only way to bring the sparrows back is by people's participation, such as keeping a bowl of water and some grains for sparrows to feed on, plant trees in and around your homes to create shelters for them, and keep bird feeders outside your house. Aarti Rana, News Desk.
Water from 44 rivers across Kerala is being collected in earthen pots as part of the Jal Sanrakshan Sandesh Yatra march to spread the message of water conservation to mark the World Water Day on Tuesday. 44 Gram Panchayats and 44 implementation supporting agencies are involved in the event organized under the aegis of Jal Jeevan Mission. The yatra, which began from Kasargod today, will culminate at the Martyrs Column at Palayam in the state capital tomorrow. The pots will then be taken to the state secretariat, where they will be received by 44 prominent personalities and people's representatives. On Tuesday, State Water Resources Minister Roshi Augustine will open the Kerala Water Parliament, organized as part of the World Water Day in the state capital.
The export of maize has touched $816.31 million in the first 10 months of current fiscal. It has already exceeded the $634.85 million achieved during the last financial year. From an exports realization of $142.8 million in 2019-20, the export of maize increased nearly sixfold. This has taken the total value of shipment to $1,593.73 million in the last 3 years, despite logistical challenges posed by the COVID pandemic. Neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Nepal are the major importers of maize from India. Bangladesh has imported maize worth $345.5 million in the current fiscal, while Nepal imported maize worth $132.16 million during this period. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners tomorrow. And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember Gandhian freedom fighter Deenbandhu Charles Freer Andrews, who came to India on the 20th of March 1904 and joined the St. Stephen's College in Delhi. During his long stay in India, the British social reformer identified himself with the socio-economic and political problems of the Indian masses. He fought against the British racial and imperial rule with the support of Mahatma Gandhi, Gopal Krishna Gokhale and other prominent Indians. He also had a deep connection with Rabindranath Tagore, who invited him to Shantiniketan on several occasions.
Sujan माझी रे कौन घाट लगई बतो हरिना.
Along with Mahatma Gandhi, Andrews also worked in Africa against a system of indenture and succeeded in procuring the basic rights for Indians there. Indians called him Deenbandhu, the friend of the poor and oppressed. Andrews was a very well-known writer and wrote about a dozen of major works, along with hundreds of articles which had deep linkage with the life of common Indian, as well as the problems of mankind. Talking about C.F. Andrews, Gandhiji had said,
"He was a good son of England, and he became also a son of India. I have not met a better man or better Christian."
It was through Andrews that Gandhi and Rabindranath met. On the one hand, he took upon himself the task of interpreting Gandhi to the West and keeping open the possibility of a dialogue between Indian leaders and the British government. On the other hand, he was working closely with Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore in the making of Vishwa Bharati and travelling with him both in India and abroad.
আমাদের শান্তি নিকেতন সে যে সব হতে আপন আমাদের সব হতে আপন আমাদের শান্তি নিকেতন।
We salute the great Gandhian.
We also remember freedom fighter Khagapati Bhotra, who died on the 20th of March 1943. A resident of Koraput, Odisha, Khagapati actively participated in the Quit India movement in August 1942 in Odisha. He was arrested by the British police and detained in Nabarangpur. Khagapati fell severely ill due to unhygienic living conditions and lack of medical care in Nabarangpur jail. He was first admitted to a hospital on the 17th of February 1943, but later, along with other political prisoners, was shifted to Koraput district jail. Khagapati Bhotra died of heart failure on the 20th of March 1943 during imprisonment. We salute the great martyr.
We also remember martyr Sarfaraz Khan, a resident of Delhi who participated in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857. He joined the army in Delhi and took active part in fighting against the British army. He was captured by British troops after reoccupation of Delhi and executed by hanging on the 20th of March 1858. We salute the great martyr.
We also remember martyr Gandharva Singh, a resident of Sagar district, Madhya Pradesh, who took part in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857. Singh joined hands with the freedom fighters of Sagar area and fought the British forces. He was captured by the British in the course of an engagement and hanged on the 20th of March 1858. We salute the great son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
आजादी के आंदोलन के खजाने में ऐसे ढेरों शब्द जिन्होंने बदल दिए इतिहास। तारीख बदलने वाले लफ्जों पर आकाशवाणी समाचार प्रसारित कर रहा है विशेष कार्यक्रम धरोहर हर सोमवार।
Indian Army's Border Roads Organization, BRO, has created a record by reopening the Zojila Pass, the strategic gateway between Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, for traffic yesterday, just 73 days after its closure. In previous years, the pass has, on an average, remained closed for over 135 days with the onset of winter and the heavy snowfall. During the current winter season, the BRO was able to keep the pass open right until January 5 this year. This was only because of the relentless snow clearance operations undertaken by BRO, even amidst the toughest of weather conditions.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for comprehensive peace talks with Moscow. In a video address, Mr. Zelensky said, "The time has come for a meeting. It is a time to talk, and the time has come to restore territorial integrity and justice for Ukraine. Otherwise, Russia's losses will be such that it will take them several generations to recover," he added. The Ukrainian president also urged Switzerland to do more to crack down on Russian oligarchs, who he said were helping wage war on his country with their money. Meanwhile, the Russian military has said that it used its latest hypersonic missile, Kinzhal, for the first time in combat during its offensive in Ukraine. Spokesman for the Russian Defense Ministry, Major General Igor Konashenkov, said the hypersonic missiles destroyed an underground warehouse storing missiles and aviation ammunition of Ukrainian troops in the western Ivano-Frankivsk region. Konashenkov also said the Russian forces used the anti-ship missile system Bastion to strike Ukrainian military facilities near the Black Sea port of Odessa. Russia first used the weapon during its military campaign in Syria in 2016. Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Sunday reiterated the country's stance on Ukraine, saying that it is objective, fair and consistent with the wishes of most countries. State media reported Wang Yi's remarks, which came after a video meeting between President Xi Jinping and US President Joe Biden on Friday, in which Xi appealed for negotiations to bring the crisis to a halt, and Biden stressed that consequences await Beijing for any support it provides to Moscow. Wang reiterated the priority is that all parties should propel dialogue and negotiations, an immediate ceasefire to avoid civilian deaths and prevent humanitarian crisis. He noted, saying that it is the only way to achieve a lasting secure European continent. President Xi encouraged the US and NATO to have conversations with Russia to solve the problems behind the Ukraine crisis and expressed opposition to indiscriminate sanctions during his video meeting with Biden on Friday.
Ace Indian Cuist Pankaj Ardwani has won Asian Billiards Championship 2022. Ardwani lifted the title at Doha, Qatar after beating compatriot Dhruv Sitwala 6-2 yesterday. This is Ardwani's 24th international title and 8th Asian crown. In badminton, India's Lakshya Sen will take on world number 1 Victor Axelsen of Denmark in the men's singles final of the All England Open 2022 in Birmingham this evening. Sen moved into finals following a hard-fought win over defending champion Lee Jia of Malaysia. Here's more in this desk report.
It will be the 6th encounter between Sen and the world number 1 Axelsen, wherein Axelsen won 4 times and the Indian just once in the most recent meeting in Germany. In the semi-final match last night, which lasted 1 hour and 16 minutes, Sen stunned reigning champion Lee Jia of Malaysia 21-13, 12-21, 21-19. The bronze medalist of the World Championships, Lakshya Sen, is all set to enter the hall, traversed by only 2 Indians before, Prakash Padukone and Pulela Gopichand. 20-year-old Sen is also only the 4th Indian to enter the final of the prestigious tournament. Sen has been in sensational form in the last 6 months, securing his maiden World Championships bronze, winning Super 500 title at India Open and finishing runner-up at the German Open. Trupti Srivastav, Sports Desk.
In the ongoing SAF Under-18 Women's Championship, India continued their winning run with a 1-0 win over Bangladesh in the second fixture at Jamshedpur, Jharkhand yesterday. Following the result, India firmly seated at the top of the table, having collected 6 points from 2 matches. India will take on Nepal in their second match tomorrow. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky. Temperature will move between 21 to 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. Chennai is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between minimum 27 to maximum of 36 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 37 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and Japan signed 6 agreements following 14th India-Japan Annual Summit in New Delhi between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida. Senior BJP leaders holding meetings in Uttarakhand and Manipur regarding government formations. Low pressure area over Bay of Bengal and South Andaman Sea likely to intensify into a depression today and later transform into a storm cyclone. Finland ranks at top in World Happiness Report for the 5th consecutive year. Afghanistan holds last position. World Sparrow Day being observed today to raise awareness about the bird on the verge of extinction. In billiards, ace Indian Cuist Pankaj Ardwani wins Asian Billiards Championship for the 8th time. And in All England Open Badminton Championship, Lakshya Sen to take on top seed Victor Axelsen of Denmark for men's singles title. And with that, we end the midday news.